Hey guys. So a lot of people ask me if there's a difference between semen retention and NoFap, and if I personally consider myself to follow the NoFap path and be a NoFapper. So I would say that there are some subtle differences in that NoFap is semen retention, but semen retention is not necessarily NoFap, and I'll explain more about this. So when I got into semen retention, I didn't know about NoFap. I didn't know there was this whole movement of men doing this. So I was training in different yoga practices, different sort of these mystical ancient philosophies that I was learning about and practicing. I was getting into meditation and yoga and Qigong practices. And I read a book by Montauk Chia called The Multi-Orgasmic Man. And this book sort of opened me up to the idea that it may not necessarily be in a man's highest interest to ejaculate every time he has sex. And so I started exploring this concept myself and immediately started seeing the benefits of this practice of retaining the life force and not just ejecting it out every time you have a sexual encounter. And so my approach to this was that semen retention is more of it's an overall sort of holistic approach to managing your energy and managing your health and really utilizing that sexual energy. Because in the path that I've been on, semen retention is not this separate thing from the rest of my practice. So my meditation practice, my yoga practice, my Qigong practice is not separate from semen retention, because semen retention amplifies all of those things, and all of those practices help to balance out the semen retention. So it's this overall system, this path of balance and developing energy. It's really about cultivating energy, harnessing that energy, and then it's a matter of what do I do with all of this energy that I'm cultivating, that I'm building in my body. So it's about learning how to apply that energy to your life. And so some of the differences that I have noticed, so NoFap is more of a system of sort of rebooting yourself. So a lot of men, they try NoFap because they're addicted to porn and they want to recover from that. They want to sort of recover their energy. So typically they do like the 90-day challenge, and where they're not masturbating, they're not ejaculating, they're not looking at porn. That's sort of the approach. And then they go through that reboot period. And then after that, some men fall back into their old patterns of ejaculating regularly. And so one of the biggest differences I would say is that most people doing NoFap, most guys doing NoFap, they go through the reboot period. And once they get into a relationship after doing NoFap, they just have sex normally like most men do and just ejaculate during sex. And with semen retention, I learned how to have sex without ejaculating, how to have full body orgasms without ejaculating. Because when you ejaculate during sex, you're still experiencing some of the negative effects of ejaculation. So it's still draining your energy. I will say that it's less severe when you're with a partner and it's more balanced overall, but it's still an unnecessary drain of your energy that does not have to be happening. So that my path was to train myself to learn how to separate the orgasm from the ejaculation and be able to do this during sex, which obviously requires great discipline and some training, but it can be done, and then it becomes quite natural for you. It becomes effortless to be able to have these multiple orgasms and not ejaculate during sex. And so this is another way that NoFap and semen retention can be different. So in my approach and the practices that I learned, masturbation was actually used as a tool to be able to separate orgasm from ejaculation. And of course, NoFappers say, don't masturbate at all. And for me, it was a very handy tool, I would say, because it's sexual energy and learning to change your sexual habits. So being able to lose that association with orgasm and ejaculation, being able to separate the orgasm from the ejaculation it takes a lot of practice, it takes a lot of training, and it's much more difficult to do with a partner because you have all that extra stimulation and excitement that you have with a partner. So training yourself by yourself through masturbation to separate the orgasm from ejaculation is a very handy tool to have. It's a very powerful training method in my experience. And then once you master that, even if you do masturbate, it's not a problem because you're not going to ejaculate. You're no longer attached to ejaculation, and you can have all the orgasms you want without having that downward hormonal and energy level crash that you have after ejaculating. So those are just some of the differences I've noticed, and that's why I never, you don't really hear me say I'm a NoFapper. You'll never hear me say, oh, I'm on hard mode, I'm on monk mode, whatever, even though I oftentimes am doing these things. One of the side effects of the training I went through was that I released my attachment to pornography and regular ejaculation. And it wasn't even something I was really trying to do at the time. It was because as I was retaining my semen, I was learning all these practices, working with the sexual energy, working with my body's energy and opening all these channels and really developing my energy. I became so much more sensitive to what was affecting me, what my interactions were with other people, how they were affecting me. And obviously I noticed how pornography was affecting me, because yes, when I was a teenager, I was always looking at porn and masturbating and ejaculating, just draining my energy, as many men do. But when I began my practice, I started to notice how that was affecting me in a very negative way. And even if I wasn't ejaculating, just looking at porn, it just did something to my energy that it was obviously not balanced. And so with time, that just naturally subsided. I just lost the urge to look at porn because I knew it didn't make me feel good in the long run. It was not fulfilling. So it was a method for me to release a lot of addictive patterns from my life. So it's just been so powerful for me. So those are just some of the ways that I see NoFap and semen retention as potentially being, a little bit different. So hopefully that sheds some light on the issue for you. And I found this path to be the most fulfilling for me. I think NoFap's great. I think that it's a great way to reboot yourself, because it is important that you change these patterns, that you get rid of these habits that are no longer serving you. But for me, the most holistic way of going about it was not necessarily just, okay, I'm giving up porn, I'm giving up masturbation, that's it. I had to bring in other practices into my life, and getting rid of the porn and the unbalanced masturbation, it was a side effect of my Qigong practice, of my meditation, and of developing my semen retention ability. And so it's just been so fulfilling and so empowering for me. I've been on this path for many, many years now, and I'm never going back. There's no question of whether or not I'll be going back, because I know I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. So it's been so powerful. And something else I want to mention is that when you're able to be in control of your sexual energy to the point that you can be having sex with someone and not ejaculate and still have all that pleasure, all that connection, it really, it brings everything to a whole new level, because you have the confidence of knowing you're not going to just blow your load in 5 to 10 minutes, as many men do. You know that you can last for hours, but beyond that, you're able to connect deeper with your partner. Because what happens after you ejaculate during sex? Typically your energy crashes. You can't you can't continue having sex usually, and you just kind of want to like roll over and fall asleep. But when you're able to control yourself and last for hours, you never have that drop in energy. You get more and more energized, because when you learn to move that sexual energy, that aroused sexual energy throughout your body, it supercharges you. It supercharges your energy channels, it supercharges your organs, your brain, everything just becomes so amplified, and your connection with your partner deepens. It's hard to put into words because it's so powerful. It's something you have to experience for yourself. So I hope that this has opened your eyes to some other possibilities maybe. And if you're interested in learning how to do this, if you're interested in learning these practices, check out my 6-week course, Multi-Orgasmic Man. It's got everything you need to gain control of your sexual energy, clear negative emotions, clear your mind, take control of your willpower, and really thrive with an abundance of sexual energy. So check out the link below to find more out about that. And thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, give this video a like, and leave a comment below. I love hearing from you guys. Have a great day.